In this video, I'm going to go over what it's going to look like on the once you have everything set up with the switcher and the laptop, the big laptop that'll be running this live stream and the recording as well as slides. And so what I have in front of me here is I have the ATEM switcher. I have the audio is currently coming through the switcher through this mic, which is going to a preamp, and that's plugged into the switcher. But to get started, I will jump into the laptop running the big powerful laptop. Oops. Okay, so here is the, I can turn myself on in the corner. There we go. Okay, so here is this is the ThinkPad P53. This is gonna run all of this is gonna control the ATEM. This is gonna run the live streaming and also be recording as well. And so this is I talked about ATEM software control earlier. This is what it's going to look like. And to open it up, I actually set up a preset on the keyboard. So if you press the star key and the FN lock is not lit, then it'll open ATEM software control. And so that's just a shortcut. Otherwise, you can just hit the start button and type ATEM, and it'll pull up ATEM software control. And so here you can find this is the switcher view. There's a media page and there's an audio page, and here you can see I'm actually recording with it now. And so you can see, I don't know what this is on. You can see the audio that's coming in, and I just have a mono audio signal coming in. Mic 1, that's what my preamp is plugged into. And also there's like camera settings, but these are only for if you have the Blackmagic cinema cameras, pocket cinema cameras. So over here, this is the main page, and in the earlier videos I talked about program and preview. So program is this top. This is what's showing right now. So right now you're seeing Cam 3. It's just the HDMI input into Cam 3. This is the main laptop. And then if I switch over, you'll notice that on the preview section, and this is shown by a green LED on the switcher, on the preview section you'll see like the projector input is highlighted green. And so if I hit the cut button on the ATEM, or if I hit cut in ATEM software control, that will cut over to the projector. So yeah, so this is, I have a laptop running some basic projection or a PowerPoint copy. In the future, if we ever get Pro Presenter, let me know and I can help everyone set that up. But this is just what a basic template might look like. I have a bunch of lyrics, a blank slide, and then this is from a long time ago. This is just an announcement slide, and so I'll be demoing what those will look like. But going back to the main laptop here, so ATEM software control allows you to change like fine control over settings, advanced settings with the ATEM Mini. But I'd also like to show OBS. And so, okay, there we go. This is going to get a little bit confusing because I'm actually in the window that is being shown right now. So I'm going to, yeah. So basically, I'm going to turn myself off right there. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm just gonna Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know how to not get you that effect. But basically, how it works is, in here this is what is coming out of the ATEM Mini. And so the ATEM Mini is set up as a video capture device within OBS. Just shows up as Blackmagic design. This should all, and then it's pretty much all defaults. This should all already be populated when you open OBS. It should stay from the last time, but if it's not, to add a source, you just click plus video capture device, and then you click OK, and then it'll take you to a window that looks like this, properties for video capture device, and then you can just select the input that we'll be using, and that's Blackmagic design. The audio mixer section shows you the audio, and so there's only one that should be turned on, and that's mic's auxiliary, and you can choose where this is coming from in the properties part of this, and we can see that it's coming from the microphone on Blackmagic design. So we won't be using the streaming feature, but if you wanted to stream to another site like Vimeo, YouTube, Facebook Live, there are plenty of tutorials online where you can figure out how to do that with OBS. It's a very powerful piece of free software. And yeah, so we're recording right now. One thing I want to show you is for when we're using this with Zoom, since only one application can see the webcam or the ATEM Mini at a time, and so if you look at the flowchart in the manual, you'll see there's on the ATEM, so first the video and audio signal come out of the ATEM, they go into the computer over USB, and it goes into OBS first, and that goes into so OBS comes into that, but we need to make it available to Zoom to share. And so you can share it by sharing a screen, or you can simply, there's a plugin that I've installed called VirtualCam, and what that does is it shows the output from OBS as a web camera that will show up in Zoom. And so this is how we'll get the video feed to Zoom from OBS. And this can also come in useful if you're using OBS to overlay lyrics, say if you're running ProPresenter, but this should auto start. You should automatically see OBS camera, what you'll be looking for in Zoom once you start Zoom. If you ever need to change any of the quality, like say you wanted to change the recording quality, then you can do that by stopping this, stopping the recording, going to settings, and tweaking those to your liking. But I'll close that for now, and I think that's all with OBS. So next I'll go into Zoom, and I'm gonna log in real quick to my Zoom account. Okay, so we're back in, and so now I'm signed in with my own account. So now that that's good, I can start a meeting. Okay, here we go again. This is gonna look weird, I'm sorry. And so we're not going to join by computer audio. And so this is what, oh my goodness. I'll just keep it like that. That doesn't look as bad. This is what it'll look like when you start Zoom, and the way, as you can see, our video has already been started and the camera is set to OBS camera. So we're good with the video. The audio is a little bit more tricky, and the reason I did this kind of workaround is because the audio, if we joined audio with the microphone, Zoom does a bunch of processing, and even though you could turn it off to the audio, it can make it hard to hear sometimes. And so before I show you how to get that set up, I'm going to go over to sounds. This process is described in the manual as well. Okay, microphone, and the default audio device is Blackmagic HDMI, and that's fine. If you don't have the P53, this big laptop, plugged into the switcher like I do currently, then your default audio device may be the speakers, and that's okay. So here, I'll just set this to the default. Hopefully things don't freak out too much. Okay, so yeah, so now the speakers, so this is what it would be like if you didn't have it plugged, if you didn't have the laptop plugged into a switcher. So speakers are the default device, and you'll notice there's sound coming out, and I turned the volume down to 2 because the workaround basically involves routing the microphone audio from the Blackmagic design, from the switcher, into the default playback device, and in our case that's the speakers right now. And so what this will do is it'll play whatever it's hearing through the microphone input, and it will send that through to the default playback device. So if that's coming through the speakers, you could get feedback. So make sure that as soon as you plug in the ATEM Mini, the volume is turned down on the laptop. So we can see that set to 2. And if you set that to 0, then no audio will come out of that playback device. Playback device, so that Zoom could hear it. So see, if I turn down the volume, then it's not showing as coming out of the speakers, and so Zoom won't be able to get that audio. So once you've checked that, the next thing is to go to share screen, and then advanced, and then music or computer sound only, and this is going to share what Windows is hearing from the default playback device. And so just like that, you should be good to start your meeting. So whatever is showing up here is coming, remember, that comes from OBS. If you try to use Blackmagic design, you might get a black screen, or you might OBS might not be able to use that camera feed anymore to record, so definitely want to be mindful of that. If you want to, you have access to all the different features of Zoom and whatever. So yeah, I would make sure that when people come to the meeting, you might want to mute them, and also keep in mind that your this feed is coming through as a video, like webcam feed, and so once everyone joins, you can right click on your own feed and click spotlight, and that'll make sure that it's the highlighted feed amid the other people's video who might show up. And you can also record in Zoom if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend that because the quality is pretty bad, but I mean, you could do both OBS and Zoom, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so now we've checked out Zoom. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Let me just go back to ATEM software control. So one thing, now that pretend Zoom is still running, now that that's still going, we can pretend we're doing service or something like that. And so a couple prep things you need to do. I can turn on my video now. so you can see me. A couple things you need to do is get the stills. So this is the media page. This is the media bank, and the media player is what's showing live. And you'll use this for, you could have, say like the beginning of service graphics or end of service graphics, like welcome, please wait, or welcome, thanks for coming, stuff like that. But right now I'm just gonna load up, you can also add those in here as well, but I'm just gonna load up a couple demo images that I made. And so the way these work is, these will act as the key, and what that means is basically whatever the ATEM Mini sees as white, it will let a layer below that through. So instead of, this is called luma keying, so instead of it being green, it's actually a shade of gray, or a shade of white, I guess. And if it's like completely white like this one, then it's the layer in front, the layer that is serving as key for will show through completely, and you won't be able to see what's behind it. So that'll become more clear when I actually do a demo. So I'm gonna start with this one. That one's for like announcements, and this one is for lyrics. So this is, yeah, lyrics in lower third. I'm gonna get that started on this computer. Sorry, wait a sec. I need to pull it over. So that is over here. I'm gonna just pull it over. That way I can see it. Oops. Oh, this is fun. Okay, there we go. So I will start the slideshow. And voila. Okay, so now if I'll jump back to the projector feed, and so basically this is what you'll be seeing on the projector. It's nothing, and my image is actually added on top. So so this is the projector feed. Without me, I wouldn't be in the projector. And so okay, so now we go back to the switcher page on ATEM software control. And I mentioned there's a key button on the ATEM Mini, but that actually doesn't do what we want it to. Okay, and so now I engage the luma key. So I clicked, if it's like before, you just click upstream key and then luma, and you can see at the bottom it's kind of blacked out a little bit, and so that means that it's working. And so when the upstream key is on, when it says on air, and you can either do picture in picture or you can do upstream key, which is why you're not seeing me right now. But I'll turn that off. Okay, so this is just the regular, you could pretend this is like the first camera angle. So this is, you'd imagine me, but I'm demonstrating this, so I'll switch back to the computer. So imagine you're looking at the stage right now, and these settings should already be in here. Fill source is what is going to be filling that area, indicated by the white area, and key is media player 1, key source, and so that's what it's looking at to determine what to show through. And so I don't need to change anything here, but I'm gonna show you walk you through how to do the steps that I excuse me, that I demonstrated on the, I believe it's the last page of the manual, and you'll see the individual steps. So basically, imagine you're looking at the stage right now, and the music is about to start. You engage key 1 on the next transition. And so what that means is on the next transition, on the next cut, key 1 is going to go on air. And so I have the slides ready on the slides laptop. It's actually showing the first lyric slide. And so on the ATEM Mini, as soon as I hit either cut or mix, I'm actually going to pop back to my video so you could see what it'll look like. Then as soon as I hit cut or mix, or auto, sorry, cut or auto, it will go on air. And so let's do that. And so just like that, you can see the lyrics at the bottom of the screen. You can see the key, that's like the gradient. And then as soon as this transition happened, I want to disengage key on the next transition menu, which I'll show you right now. That way when I change, so like I changed back to this input, the key or the lyrics, they stayed there. And so if I had this on, then when I transitioned like that, I pushed auto on that one as opposed to cut, but then the lyrics didn't turn on and off air when I cut. And so say like we went through this whole song, and then that's it. And so you want to get rid of that key in the bottom lower third. Then you engage this once again, and then say we're back here. Okay, well, I'll do a more nicer fade there. Okay, so now I'll turn off key 1 in next transition. I know it's focusing on my mic. Turn off key 1, and then say the next thing up is announcements. So now you have to go to the media page and drag this over here. And so this is the white area. You have to work with whoever makes the slides to make sure that it fits into the space that's on the PNG file. And so now I can go back to here. So this is live in the media player. So once I go to the next slide on the projector, I want that key to come up. So I will go back to key 1, and I will do a nice transition into the next thing. So it actually, one thing that I didn't mention was the next transition doesn't have to be a different input. It can actually be the same one. So that just means that, so say preview is cam 1, that I'm transitioning from cam 1, which is just me right now, to another cam 1, but the key is going to turn on because I have it engaged in next transition. So I'm going to do that right now, and just like that, you can see the announcements, and it had a nice fade in effect to it. And so yeah, these are old announcements, but you can just simply go through these, and then once it's done, you can leave key 1 on. Since you're showing the same camera, you're not going to change camera angles during announcements. You can just hit auto, and then they fade out nicely, just like that. And so that's pretty much a preview of what you'll have to do to transition between lyrics and announcements. And then so I will cut back to the laptop. Oops, I had the transitioning engaged, so I'm going to try that again. There we go. Okay, so make sure you always turn key 1 off after the transition. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything related to transitions. Now I'll go through. Okay, so say you had an announce, or like a welcome graphic or something like that, or like a full screen announcement where you don't need to see the video behind it. In that case, you can, none of these are a really good example, but you can simply drag those over to the media pool somewhere. Doesn't have to be overriding a previous one, but drag it to the media pool, drag it to the active side over here, and then on either this menu of ATEM software control or on the switcher, there's a button called still, and that has I just pressed still on the switcher just now, and so that will turn on media player, the media player, which is the still from here. And so let's see what that looks like. So I will do a fade to the still, and I won't be in here. This is what it'll be looking like. So this is what the key looks like for the announcements slide, because I unfortunately don't have any nice welcome graphics. But this is what the key looks like. So imagine you had like a welcome page or something here. Then once you're ready to start, then you can simply preview like the main camera. So like camera 1. So camera 1 is set to preview, it's green. Then I'll just hit auto, and then we're back to the main camera. And so I'll hop back to ATEM software control. So last couple things before I end this, you can save, just like on digital mixers, like audio mixers, you can save the settings, the state that it's in. And so if you want to, you can do that. You can click save, and it'll save as an XML file in the documents folder, I think. And then you can just restore that once you have like the next week after that, plug in the ATEM, get everything set up, and have it be exactly as you left it. The startup state, that's what happens, what it looks like when you first power on the ATEM. So even if it's not plugged in, if it's not plugged into the computer via USB, that it'll resume to that startup state. So you don't really need to worry about that. But since you can just load it using restore up here. There's a whole bunch of other functionality that you can check out with this. I don't even know half the things you can do with this, but there's, I don't know if I showed this before, but so say, let's go back to the audio page if we can. Okay, audio. Okay, so this is what my mono, so I have a TRS headphone jack style connector here. I'll show. So it looks something like, if this will focus, probably won't. Okay. Anyways, just like a regular stereo headphone jack, but audio is only coming out of one of them. And so I have mic 1 set up as left right, or it's splitting the inputs, and only the one side that the audio is coming through is being sent as dual mono. So the left signal is being sent to both the left and the right. And so if we go to the settings here, you could see where I did that. So simply split mic 1 into separate mono channels. And then, so right now I'm using this with a Zoom H4n Pro, which I can attempt to show. It's just, it's like a nice field recorder, nothing super professional, I guess, but it's acting as the preamp for the microphone here. That is sending a lower level, it's not line level, it's actually mic level, to the mic 1 input on the ATEM Mini. And so that's why it's set to microphone here. If it were set to, if the audio is coming out of the mixer, you'd want to have this set to line, and you might have to change the gain up here. I didn't, because I can like fine tune the output coming out of the Zoom H4n Pro. But if this were coming out of the X32 mixer or whatever else you have it plugged into, you might need to adjust it to line level, because it comes out, line level has a stronger signal than microphone level. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. over here. Now there's one thing, if you look at some tutorials online, you might run into different configurations of the ATEM Mini, and so right now we have it configured as a program. What's it called? Program preview, and so that means you'll have one input looking. It has like a red icon. The other one's green for your current one, which is on program and preview. I wouldn't recommend changing this unless you really want to, but you can change it to cut bus, and what that does is instead of you selecting the next input you want to go to and then hitting cut or auto, you can simply select either, if you want the transition to either be cut or auto, and then you execute the transition by clicking the input buttons on the front of the ATEM Mini. So that's another option. You can change that if you want, but just wanted to show that. Yeah, this is like it connects to the ATEM Mini, but it should automatically just pull it up right away. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope that was fairly comprehensive. Hopefully the video wasn't too long, but I will stop this now, and hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this thing will all work out.